What's up, Browns fans? Welcome to the Dawgs podcast. Let's kick this thing off.
Welcome to the Dawgs podcast with your hosts, Blake Renneker, Zach Kopp, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs podcast. Before we get into this episode, I got to remind you all to check us out on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, please share the video. That helps us out a lot. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram. Please subscribe on YouTube. Also, remember, you can check us out on the AG app on your smart TVs and your Rokus, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere where you can find a podcast, you'll find us there. Lastly, remember, visit our friends over at Thrive Fantasy. Use promo code DAWGS, that's DAWGS, to receive your 100% match on your deposit of $20 or more, up to $50. Just to give you guys a little bit more insight on Thrive real quick before we dive into the episode, I think Josh had a couple examples of what you're getting into if you go join Thrive. So
yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's just over-under games. So, you're not trying to build a lineup or stay within a salary cap or all that kind of other fantasy stuff that we do. So, for example, let's go with our Browns. Sunday night, prime time, it'll be fun. You guys don't look too excited.
Right. Yeah, I'm very excited, bro. I'm tuned into what you got.
I'm
hanging on the seat of my, I'm in. What you got?
Hang on, before we get into the over-unders.
Yes.
Hey, I don't know if you guys heard, but the Browns are in the playoffs.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Okay, hey, best day of my life. Don't tell my wife or my kids.
We are going to be doing spontaneous celebrations throughout the show tonight because we're in the playoffs.
It's a great day to be alive.
Yes. Oh, man. Okay, anyway. Now I'm all excited. Baker Mayfield, Sunday night. Will the over-under, 2.5 pass touchdowns plus interceptions. 2.5.
Man, that's a tough one. That's a good line.
I'm going to take the under.
I'm taking the under.
Yeah. I would take the under.
I see him having like a touchdown, no picks.
Or 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
No picks.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll go over.
Yeah.
I just think that game plan-wise, I think we'll see more runs.
Yes.
I think we'll see more run, longer drives. So it'll be interesting.
Trying to keep MJ Stewart and Jackson off the field.
Well, even if we'll get into it, if Ward doesn't play, Stefanski did not commit to Jackson this week. So.
Well, that's good.
So, speaking of running the ball, so Nick Chubb, 88.5 rushing yards, over-under.
I'm going to take that over.
I'm going to go under, just because I still think that they'll split. I think it's close, but I think it's a little under.
I'm thinking a little over, but I like what you're saying there. Kareem Hunt, I wouldn't be surprised if they both have something close to that.
I mean, he had a good game this week. He had 108, but it was with a 47-yard run, so he was really only 13 carries. We're going to get into that.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into all that.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to go under just because I know they're getting their D-line. Everyone's going to be in the game. So, yeah, we'll get into all that. So then the last one for Sunday night's game, the Browns versus Steelers, Jarvis Landry, over-under, half a reception or receiving touchdown.
So will he
score or will he not score?
Over.
I'll take the over. I think Jarvis has to score.
I'm going to go under. He's just not – he's not our touchdown.
He's not known as a touchdown machine.
Right.
And then, he did score on Sunday, but it was a rushing touchdown.
Correct.
He's got
does it say receiving touchdown?
It does.
Oh.
He's only got 3 on the year.
Okay, then I'm under.
Give me that over.
Give me that over. I'm going under.
I'm taking the over with Justin on this one. I think, Baker's got to we're going to have to score. We got to score. And I think Jarvis is our best bet through the air. So, so get over to Thrive and put in your over-unders.
Yeah, don't forget to use that promo code, code DAWGS. Play with free money like I do. So, again, in case you guys haven't heard, Browns are in the playoffs.
It didn't cue his music.
God.
I'm going to keep doing that because it's awesome. First time 18 years, Browns are in the playoffs.
Man.
I remember I was watching this game, and it was not going the way I thought it was going to go. A little up and down, especially on the offensive side of the ball. We're giving up deep passes on defense. And I'm like, man, I don't even know if I'm going to be excited about this one if we get this because I don't feel confident going into next week. And then clock struck 0. I hear Jim Donovan's call about Baker sealing the game. I watched Baker walking off the field, pointing at the crowd, and I had a single tear going down my cheek. It was one of the best days of my life. I almost felt like it was when the Cavs won the title, and this was just to make the playoffs.
I know what you're saying with the Cavs. Yeah. Just sitting there and watching everybody, it was kind of like I don't want to say it was out of body kind of experience, but I was like very surreal because it was like, man, every one of these people, I've seen a lot of like 35-year-old Justin Charles type guys up in there, and I'm like, every one of these people have walked a very dark path to this point as far as Cleveland Browns football. The excitement, it was crazy. Well, I mean, absolutely crazy.
Tell everybody who's watching, listening right now, because you were at the game.
Yes.
You know, of the four of us, Justin was actually at the game and got to experience in person.
Very special.
Going to the playoffs.
Yes.
Tell them what it was like, man.
So the second quarter, it was very scary. It was very scary. I looked at my wife during the second quarter and I said, this is exactly not the way I thought this was going to go. And I was very nervous. I was seeing a lot of field goals getting kicked, and I was like, they're coming right back. But as the game went on, and obviously the last few minutes got a little crazy, got a little closer than I'd like. But as far as like Cleveland sports moments, like in my life, it's way up there. And like I've seen okay ones, like, 95, 97 Indians were special, but it was very surreal. It was hard to like keep composure.
Because we were all texting in the group text. I think it was kind of maybe the first quarter right before the game. And I think, Blake, you said, man, if we could have just packed this stadium today. God. And you texted back, Justin, and said,
crazy.
Bro, it's loud here.
It was loud. It was exciting.
With only 12,000 people.
Yes. Yeah. I've said this. I was very lucky to get to go to some games this year. There's something special going on with the Browns. Like, I don't know if it's just this year because it's a weird year. But, like, not only is that team buying into what Stefanski's got out there, but, man, like, the fans, like, completely are owning it. And they've waited their whole lives to.
Well, you finally got a coach who's instilling the type of culture that we as fans, like, we've been
begged for.
Yeah, we've been starving for this. This is what we want our team to be.
Yeah, and then you got
hard-nosed and
some new fans that, because the Browns are doing well, they're becoming essentially kind of like a Dallas Cowboys that you got fans all over.
We're the world's team.
Yeah, we're countrywide.
We were like that before, but we weren't.
Hey, we've got Browns fans all over the world. This is a good time. We got the Ottawa Browns backers. We got the Toronto Browns backers.
That's right.
There's the London Browns backers.
Are they watching tonight?
I don't know if they're watching, but they'll probably check out the episode. I post the episode in the Ottawa Browns backers every week. Every week they like it.
That's awesome.
So big shout out to our friends up in Canada for checking out the episodes. We really appreciate it. But that just goes to show, I mean, the Browns have been awful for 20 years. And there's people going to pubs in London watching Browns games. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys know this, there's a little bit of a time difference.
6 hours.
Yeah.
6 hours.
It's a big, so, I mean, these guys are going way out of their way to be able to watch a Browns game.
Yep.
Right.
And, there's something special about being a Cleveland Browns fan. And I was at the parade when the Cavs won the title. 1.3 million people is nuts. If the Browns are to ever win a Super Bowl, Northeast Ohio is going to have to be shut down. There's not going to be anything operating within 100 miles of Cleveland.
You imagine if that happened this year and they tried to limit the crowd number that they could have.
Yeah.
I'm catching COVID. I'll be there. I'll quarantine, whatever we got to do to make that happen.
You'll catch COVID, but Hollywood won't.
Because he's too quick for that.
He's way too quick.
His foot might slip.
Yeah.
Goodness sake. So, I mean,
we'll get into that too.
Hey, so as we dive into the Steelers game, it's kind of weird because we just played the Steelers and we're playing the Steelers this week, so we're going to kind of lump our review and our preview all into one. Some things I did want to cover. The first thing I want to say is all you Steelers fans out there screaming about, oh, you guys shouldn't be too pumped. You only beat our backups by 2 points, blah, 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 blah. Didn't you just lose to the Bengals with your starters? Big Ben had negative passing yards at the half against the Bengals. So, okay, that's
who didn't have all their starters.
No, they were down number one draft pick, number one overall draft pick,
their number
Joe
one
Burrow.
running back.
Yeah, so okay.
Yeah.
I almost got a little carried away there.
They were missing 15 guys. Browns were missing 12.
Yeah. And, and the thing is, though, a big thing about the guys that the Browns are missing. So the Steelers were playing, they're missing their starters, and they're playing second-string players. The Browns are missing their starters, They're second-string guys. In some cases, they're third-string guys.
Right.
So in our secondary, it's not like we were playing a second-string quarter. No, that was Kevin Johnson. He didn't get to play.
Right.
Yeah.
We're playing whatever Jackson. Burnt Toast Jackson. Because, so I don't even want to hear this soft excuse about you beat our backups. We've been playing backups all season.
Yes, we have. That's a very good argument.
Our secondary has been backups since training camp.
Yep.
I haven't seen Greedy Williams play a game today. Have you guys seen Grant Delpit out there at all?
I have not. No.
Guess who was not supposed to be starting for us this year? Andrew Sandeo.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear any of this excuses about, you barely beat our second string. Get the hell out of here.
I mean, we're pulling guys off the practice squad, and you can tell they're off the practice squad.
Yeah, because they need more practice.
Yeah.
And also the Browns just came into this game against the Steelers, no practices or one small practice.
Yeah, it was only one
Wednesday
and a half.
Yeah. And the week before, none of our receivers played in the game. So get out of here. Mm-hmm. The Browns had their backs up against the wall, and they still won a game. I had to get that off my chest because Steelers.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it. It's bad.
Absolutely. And they're because it's everywhere, all over social media, all that stuff, and also quarterback play because they're all wait until Big Ben's back. Mason Rudolph didn't play terrible, and he just played a whole season last year. Yeah, other than getting hurt.
I think call me crazy. I think Mason Rudolph.
He kept him in the game.
Absolutely. Big Ben. I know. Don't get me wrong. Big Ben is a legend. First ballot Hall of Famer. Don't get me wrong. I hate to say things like that. The guy is excellent. 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. He's played one good half of football in the last month.
Yeah.
Second half against the Colts.
Yep.
Yeah.
He had literally negative passing yards at the half against the Cincinnati Bengals, one of the worst defenses in the league. How'd they look against Washington on offense? Yeah. The Washington team we beat, by the way.
They didn't look that good against Pittsburgh. Did not look that good against the Browns the first time we played them on. Their offense. At least the first part of that game, I remember watching. I'm like, they don't really look that great. Like we were controlling things a little bit. So
I mean,
Ben's not what he used to be.
No, and he can barely move. So, and I don't. Myles Garrett might be starting, but he's clearly not 100%.
No, not even close.
He was a non-factor.
Yeah, he's clearly not 100. Now we got Olivier Vernon out.
Yeah.
Donovan Peoples-Jones got hurt in that game.
Yep.
So don't come crying to me about you were playing second stringers. We've been playing fourth stringers all season. So there, I said my piece.
That's fine.
All right.
Hey,
So now we'll move into the a little bit more game specific. I feel like we got to talk about the lack of Nick Chubb usage and just the strange play calling in general. And then I started thinking, were we vanilla on purpose?
Yes.
I think to an extent, yes. But me, and kind of being in that coaching different sports, I hate being like that. Like, you got to win today.
Yes.
Don't, hey, let's do what we can do to get by for tomorrow. You don't know tomorrow is going to exist, so you better win today, and then you just got to be better next week. Don't try to take away and do some things differently just to see if we can get by. Me personally, I didn't like that, and it felt like we were seeing that in the game. Nick Chubb, we were all talking, we're like, where is he in the second half?
He's wearing a coat, staying warm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and not looking happy about it, by the way.
Yeah, the guy averaged 7.7 yards for the game. That included a 47-yard run, but he was averaging, 5 yards a carry for if you take that run out. The guy was gashing him every time he got the ball. So and you knew who was missing on their defense, and he was exploiting it, and it just felt like we weren't using it.
Yeah.
It's not like we were up by 10 or 13 or 14 points or anything like that. Like, it was a one-score game. We had to continue, moving the ball. We couldn't just give it back to them. And Chubb's on the sideline. It's like, okay, I don't get it in that situation.
I'll give Stefanski a little bit, of a pass here where we did get up by 2 scores at one point. And I felt like we had about 2 drives where I thought he opened the playbook a little bit more, and we marched right down the field and scored pretty easily. And then he went kind of back to the conservative play calling. He isn't expecting his defense to give up. Maybe he should be, but he isn't expecting his defense to just give up bombs to let them back in the game. I mean, we're up 2 scores.
Did he not see the Jets game?
Yeah, this is true. But it's almost like he said, listen, I don't care if we win this game by a quarter of a point. We just got to win this game. I want to win this game showing as little as possible.
Yeah.
And I actually saw an interview he did after the game where he's like, I'd be lying if I said the fact that we were going to play them again next week wasn't in the back of my head. And, trying to keep Nick Chubb fresh because, we know we're going to need him next week. I'm with Zach, though. You can't save your ace for the second game, for game 7, if
you have to win game 6.
If you have to win game 6. So he played with fire, and luckily he didn't get burned. It worked. He kind of looks like a genius. But, man,
It was nerve-wracking.
I was
It was
nerve-wracking.
very nerve-wracking, yeah.
And I know that, everybody's screaming about how they were playing backups. I didn't expect us to come out here and kill them.
No.
This is the Steelers we're talking about. They just played an entire season with backups last year.
And went
8-8.
8-8.
And went 8-8.
Yep.
So
made the playoffs.
it's not just the Browns they played tough with backups. They literally had
They're so well
they
drafted,
didn't have a losing season, and they played with a guy named Duck Hodges for a bunch of games last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go back and you think about going into that game. The only thing you had to know is you looked across the field, and if Mike Tomlin's coaching on their sideline, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
Because the Steelers don't get blown out. It doesn't matter if they're terrible or not, because they just don't.
It blows my mind that
And they
Steelers
wanna
fans.
get rid-
Yeah.
We keep mentioning it this year.
It literally, it blows my mind. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy, but like, what a blessing. You go from
They
from
could get rid of
coward-
him, actually. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Go somewhere in the NFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ask all these teams who are looking for coaches who are interviewing Jason Garrett. You want Jason Garrett to come be your coach?
I saw.
Yeah, go ahead and fire Mike Tomlin.
I saw a great meme that Jason Garrett's still keeping the Cowboys
Yeah, I
out
saw
of the
that.
playoffs.
I saw that. That's excellent.
Well, how do you think Philly's feeling about Doug Peterson right now?
Oh, he's
as a head
oh
coach?
man.
You want to
He
talk
lost-
about
he lost the
ruining
locker
your
room.
relationship? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
he lost the locker room.
Big time.
That is.
When
Did you
you're-
guys watch that game?
Yeah, and
What
I did.
happened?
When-
So-
What was the idea there in the fourth quarter?
it was a what?
I know-
3-point game.
Yeah.
3-point game.
I know that
Third
he
quarter?
said that he was like, "Oh, well, we agreed that we would give Nick Sudfeld snaps."
Nate.
Or is it
Nate
Sudfeld?
Sudfeld.
Nate, yeah,
Sudfeld.
Sudfeld.
Point
yeah.
taken.
Yeah.
Very well
Yeah,
taken.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I see both sides. I see both sides there. One, I saw the Giants came out and they're complaining like, "Oh, Philly's got to play to win the game."
Yep.
Shut up, Giants.
You went
Okay?
6-10.
Yeah, you shouldn't even be in the conversation. So you just Joe Judge. I kind of all right. Your team's never going to do that. Okay, good. But now on the Eagle side, if I'm a player on that team, I am upset.
Yeah.
Well,
I am
Jason
upset. Now-
Kelsey was
Yeah.
verbal.
Now
about it.
Jalen Hurts wasn't playing great by no means. He was terrible.
He had him in the game, though.
But
He had 2
he's
rushing
one
touchdowns.
of your first round pick, right?
Second round pick.
Second round pick. You're seeing what he can do. So why your backup that you've had on the team for 3 years, you're going to go to him to get him snaps? Don't you know what he's given you? You don't know what this rookie still yet. I mean, he's still learning.
Well, and
To
he
me,
turned
it-
the ball over the first two. Was it the first two plays or two
bad-
plays in a row on the first 2 drives
Two
he
bad
had?
interceptions.
It would have been different to me if they went back to Wentz. They're like, we're in this close
They didn't
game.
even. They didn't. I don't think they even dressed him.
No, he
did
was.
they?
He
No,
was
it's correct.
street
Healthy scratch.
He was in street
So
clothes.
that just we're looking at these coaches and these teams are in disarray and some of these coaches are making some real boneheaded moves and ruining
Yeah.
locker rooms and ruining players. We've been through it all, and then the Steelers have Mike Tomlin and they don't want him. The fans. What is wrong with these people?
Those players, I don't know this personally, but I guarantee you those players would give everything for that coach.
Yeah.
I
That's
can
'cause they
guarantee
do.
it. I can guarantee it.
Which we're seeing now with
The Browns.
Stefanski.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, he's just got to maybe carpool Higgins and Wills Jr. to practice. That might be his only thing he's going to watch.
So
You-
should
you
we
know
touch
what
on
they
that?
Can we talk?
Should we touch on
I'll tell you what they were doing is they were going, we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, boy.
Right. Man,
I do feel like we should touch on that real quick. So,
Yeah, definitely.
I really don't think it's a big deal.
No.
So whenever I first heard that Higgins was drag racing, I was like, wait, what? He was drag racing in Westlake? and then I was like, well, I wonder who he's racing against.
Yeah.
And then it came out that it was against Jedrick Wills. And I was like, I guarantee you this was Jedrick Wills pulled up to the stoplight and looked over and was like, oh, hey, it's Higgins. Hey, and they start revving their engines a little bit. Who hasn't done this? I literally race Zach to Buffalo Wild Wings every Friday night in my F-150. So who hasn't done that? And, and then you beat them off the line for 30 feet and then you stop. Westlake PD, what are we doing? Why are we arresting? Why are we arresting
Upholding the
Browns
law.
players week of the playoffs for something so
Oh, they
stupid?
didn't get arrested. Come on.
If
now.
I got caught doing that, maybe get a ticket.
That's all they got. They got a ticket when they got their
Yeah.
car searched.
Yeah,
They
and-
do have a court date
They
For
went
the
today.
other.
Oh well, you know.
for the other things that were found in the car.
little
Listen,
bit of dank.
It's 2021, guys. Things are.
That's the
things are
thing. The
changing. Come
NFL
on
doesn't even care about
Yeah.
it. They don't even test for it anymore. So I'm literally not. I don't see this affecting. There's not going to be any discipline from the league.
There'll be a talk in the office.
Yeah.
When coach is allowed to talk to him, I'm sure he Zoom called him. He was like, "Hey, listen,
sure.
hey,
Hey, can we save the hijinks for not playoff week?
yeah,
Right.
But I really don't think it was that big of a deal. I think a lot of people are just blowing it out of proportion for no reason.
I don't think it's a huge deal, but it's the timing of it.
The
That's the
timing's
thing.
terrible.
That's the thing.
The timing's terrible.
Like, hey, have you not been here before? Oh, wait, we haven't. So,
Yeah.
especially those two guys. So, kind of a little bit of a learning thing. They're both young.
But with this Browns team, though, and I'm with you. It's probably not that big a deal, but the big problem with it is you've come to expect more. Like you've come to expect better. You don't want to hear this. Anytime a Browns player shows up in any sort of police,
Yeah.
report or anything during the season or any time now, it's like, come on,
Right.
stop it.
Did you guys see Higgins on Twitter though?
So
That he was-
great.
He said he was trying to run away from COVID and
Yeah.
foot slip. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty.
He quickly
funny.
deleted that, which is
Yeah.
probably, I'm sure his agent reached
Coach
out.
was like,
His
hey,
agent
agent
Stefanski
coach
saw
was like,
it.
hey, what are you? Stop.
Yeah.
You're good.
So, but I do want to. I think we do got to talk about the first quarterback to take us to the playoffs in 18 years. Baker Mayfield, I thought, played a very just solid game, through the air, and then what he did with his legs. I mean, he sealed that victory with his legs. He stayed up. He played big boy football going down the stretch. No turnovers, made some big throws, and it was almost like he just put the team on his back and was like, "Hey, I'll take us to the playoffs. I'll take us in this vanilla game plan to the playoffs." And when he got that first down to seal it, and he's like pushing Steelers players out of the way so he can celebrate, and then he's pointing at the crowd, I was like, man, we're going to the playoffs.
I wasn't ready for that
You
one.
know that's what's going on in Baker's head, though, right?
Yeah.
I was completely cut.
So
He's very much like embodied that like gritty, like you think of like even like these cities like they're in that Iron Belt, like, you know what I mean, where they say they're gritty, they're hardworking, blue collar towns. Like he's kind of embodied that, like, and he's bought into the fact that he's almost like, like how LeBron James was like, hey, we're gonna do something for Cleveland. He's bought into that.
He's bought into it, but I feel like that was him in college all the way. Though.
Yeah.
He was just the roll my sleeves up.
Yeah.
I'm going to get dirty and I'm going to win this. Like he was just. I remember, and we've talked about this. I hated him in college,
Oh, my
especially when he
God.
played the Buckeyes. I'm like, I hate Baker Mayfield because of what he's doing on
Carved
the
us
field.
up. Yeah.
He's killing us.
Zach liked him.
Zach liked him, yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
With my
Yeah.
Oklahoma
Yeah.
attire on today.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
he
Did he plant a flag somewhere?
Yeah. He did.
I think he did.
Yeah, right
He could
here.
plant one.
in my heart.
In my heart.
He could plant another one this week.
Yeah. That
How
would,
awesome would that be?
Yeah, that would be excellent.
Man.
Man, if Baker takes us into Pittsburgh, down a coach, down a Pro Bowl guard, MJ Stewart and Jackson playing corners
Maybe
on
no
defense,
Ward.
maybe no, and he pulls out a playoff win in Pittsburgh.
Against all their players back.
Yeah, get the statue builder ready. We'll be commissioning the
I'm going to
statue.
build one of my own out of Play-Doh in my basement. Just started.
I'll be like, what's her face from Hey Arnold when she has like that gum statue of Hey
Yes.
Arnold.
There you go.
I'll have a gum statue of Baker in my
Mayfield.
closet.
Yep.
Baker was 17 of 27, 196 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 97.1 rating, sacked 4 times for 30 yards. Again, just a super solid performance. 6 carries for 44 yards, average 7.3 yards per carry. Longest one was 28 yards. And I think we saw some of these runs would be they wouldn't have happened earlier in the year. A lot of these were pockets started to collapse and he didn't bail. He stepped up into
in
the
the pocket.
pocket and it spread like the Red Sea and then he was able to run. I think we've seen, even a month and a half into this season, we're still seeing panic feet Baker, where the pocket would start to collapse and he just looked like a chicken with his head cut off in the pocket. And now he seems to be manipulating the pocket, stepping up in, still looking to throw, and then he's making some plays with his feet. Kareem Hunt, kind of a rough game, 10 carries, only 37 yards. Jarvis Landry, the 1 carry, 3 yards. It was for a touchdown. Jarvis did have 5 catches, 51 yards. Rashard, 2 catches, 55 yards. Austin Hooper targeted 5 times, 4 catches, 37 yards. Cordero Hodge, 2 catches, 25 yards. Kind of a lot of people stepping up. Donovan Peoples-Jones did get hurt in this game.
Big hit.
Big
That was
hit.
the craziest thing I've seen.
I don't
like that.
I don't know if he's going to be back.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that it was a concussion that he was injured with because
Yeah.
he got hit hard right in the lower back.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's some type of a stinger, but when they said concussion, so I'm not sure if he's going to be back this week or not.
So, which makes the loss of Cordero Hodge this week even.
Yep.
So, who's going to be? Are we going to be pulling in Bradley?
Marcus Bradley, baby. Get back out there, kid.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have Harrison Bryant back this week.
By the way, I was just going through of who got the snap count. So Njoku, who didn't play bad,
No.
played well filling in for Bryant, but almost the biggest play of the game, a guy who's probably filling in for Bryant would be my guess, Steven Carlson on the onside kick.
Oh, my gosh. You
Is that
this-
Harrison Bryant if he's in there, you think,
Yeah.
on the hands team?
I was like, what are you
Rather
doing?
than your
Sit on it.
4th string tight end is the
Yeah.
guy that they're kicking the ball towards. No wonder they kicked it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, oh
Just
my
another
word.
4-stringer on the Browns team having to get meaningful snaps.
Now, see, the thing is, though, any other year,
Oh,
Pittsburgh gets that ball.
absolutely.
Any other year.
Absolutely.
Well, it's probably Odell's in that position too if he's playing.
Yeah.
He's probably on the hands team. There,
I'm
but-
sure he is, yeah. And just Helga. That's what's her face from Hey
Helga.
Arnold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Nice with the recovery.
He didn't.
Thank you, Facebook audience.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
DPJ did
I
not
didn't think
practice
of it.
today.
Okay.
He did not practice today.
So we're going to be, we got to get into, what we're going to be missing this week. No Stefanski, which sucks because we don't know if Van Pelt, I think I saw he called plays on an interim basis one time before. But Stefanski's been that steady guy for us all season when it comes to play calling, which is kind of funny because he didn't know if he was going to call plays at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
But in our biggest game of the year, I kind of want our head coach, the guy who's turned around the organization, to be there. And then this sucks real bad for Joel Bitonio, but this guy's been through so much as a Brown. And then to make it to the playoffs, finally he has to miss his first start for COVID. And then it sucks for us because I think Kendall Lamb's going to have to play guard. Against,
Probably.
he's going to be lined up against Cam Hayward, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. To me, that's a glaring hole in our offense because you can only help on so many spots. And it turns out they still got TJ Watt who's going to be lined up on the edge. So,
And he's faster than everybody,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
He'll be back in that backfield.
I'm looking for
Quick.
Baker's got to utilize that hard count this week.
Yeah.
No, this was the game, the first time we played him, where I was screaming about how he wasn't using it ever. And then he's kind of gotten really good at it. He's got I'd be hard counting almost every other time to keep these guys off balance. You got to help these tackles out. And then hopefully, if it's Kendall Lamb, hopefully he brings his big boy pants to this game because you're lined up against a grown man in Cam Hayward. Yep. And we got to be able to get the run game going because if we have to line up on pass 50 times, TJ Watt's going to eat.
Yep.
No, you can't expect a tackle to be on an island against TJ Watt 50 times. I don't care how good of a tackle he is.
Yeah, we got to be able to run the football. I think for us to stay in this game, we want to limit possessions as much as possible. We want to try to, long, drawn-out drives, taking 5-6 minutes off the clock every time. And even if you get a field goal, you got to eat clock up and try to just shorten this game and make it, possession-type football. Because with their defense, it's going to be hard to score quickly with having their guys back. I know Joe Hayden might not play, but being like Blake said, having to push the ball downfield and have to have time, you're not going to have a lot of time. So you're not going to be able to score, big chunk plays, 30 yards, the 40-yard plays. You're just not going to get it this week.
I do think we have to try to hit – we got to be a little creative on our offense. We have to try to hit a couple – I'm not saying we're going to throw 50-yard bombs every play, but I think it's going to be hard to sustain 10 to 12 play drives against this defense, over and over and over again. So I think, Stefanski might not be there in person this week, but he's still heavily involved in making the game plan.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this is going to have, it's going to take his best game plan. We're going to have to pull out all the stops. There is no next week. So no vanilla this week. We got to do everything we can to keep them off balance. Got to feed Chubb the ball. And then we have to block up front to the point we got to be able to throw from the pocket. Baker can't get panicked again. TJ Watt's going to be breathing down your neck. Hold on to the ball, please. No strip sacks, no turnovers. Don't throw it to Minka. Don't let TJ Watt impact this game more than he already is.
Yeah,
He's probably going to get one, if not two. But don't let a mistake turn into the spiral that sends us down to getting crushed.
Yep, got to do a lot of those misdirection plays. Just got to freeze those defenders for just that split second to give Baker that extra split second to decide where he's going to throw the ball, to go through his progressions and everything.
Yeah. And
quick passes.
Yes. And I kind of look for Jarvis. Jarvis is going to have a big game in this game. He's kind of our emotional leader. He's, our number one receiver now that Odell's out. Just waiting for you guys.
Yeah. Just saying.
So
Odell.
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
So Jarvis needs to have a big game. No drops. Hopefully Harrison Bryant's back because I think that helps the run game a lot. He's a better blocker than Njoku, even though Njoku has been playing well.
He has been playing well.
And then as far as the defensive side of the ball is concerned, losing Olivier Vernon's a huge deal.
Yes.
Especially with Myles Garrett at maybe 60, 70% right now. Porter Gustin, we're going to need you, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to need him from that Cincinnati game earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Not, he hasn't shown. And I think
Claiborne
steps up a little bit. He's going to have to, him and Myles kind of play the same side. I'm interested to see if, they swap over like a Claiborne, have him come off that other side just to – maybe not every time that he's in the game, but at least just to mix it up to give you two good pass rushers, coming off the sides. It's going to be interesting because, Vernon, when he got hurt, it looked like maybe it wasn't that bad. It almost looked like, maybe he was cramping or something. And then I read after the game that he was carted from the sideline to the locker room, and I texted Blake, and I was like, that's not good.
Yeah.
No,
he couldn't even put any weight on it.
Yeah.
And it sucks, too, because second half of the season, man, he's been what we traded for.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could say
he's averaging at least
our best defensive player.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been balling out. And up until this point, he's been relatively healthy all season.
Yep.
So that's a big loss for the defense. I do want to talk about Jacob Phillips. He might be the best linebacker on our team right now.
Yeah, so you put some respect on that.
Go ahead, put some respect on his name for sure, man.
You were down on him in the draft.
Well, the guy from Ohio State's still having a pretty solid season over for the Ravens. So I'm not going to apologize too much, but Jacob, he looks fast.
He's super fast. I saw a couple articles that said, if he progresses, he could be a Pro Bowler in a few years because he's so athletic and fast that, with the right coaching and molding him into, an NFL linebacker with that speed to get on the outside, that he could be really good.
That first drive, he had two huge tackles. He had the first tackle when I was like, whoa, wow, that's exciting. And then the next one where he basically stuck. I can't remember. It was James Conner maybe.
Yeah.
And then Joseph came up and, had that huge hit and stopped him on third down. I'm like, we're going to have a fun day today.
Yeah, we're really not used to seeing that.
No.
Lately.
What, tackling?
Tackling,
big,
stop.
hard popping tackles,
Yep.
that Joe Schobert really wasn't that guy. He was a great coverage guy. He'd fill the hole, but he wasn't coming up and filling the hole and making you feel like, hey, I don't want to go against that guy again.
No.
And Phillips had a couple of those moments.
Yep.
Yeah, and how many more times are we going to watch Mac Wilson just
Oh, my God.
Can't make a
fly
tackle.
by guys or bounce off of people? It's like, dude, what are you doing?
He might be the worst tackler in the league.
I was really excited when, at the beginning of the year, we were like, he's coming. He'll be back.
I was too.
It's going to be, we're going to get Mac Wilson back. He's our best linebacker. No.
And here's how much of this is Joe Woods?
Yeah,
we've been
I
saying
think
that for
I don't
weeks
know
now, man.
because
there'll be a lot of questions directed his way in the offseason.
Because case in point, Terence Mitchell, since being on the Browns, has been better than solid when he has to fill in and play, and he's been trash this year. And Andrew Sendejo.
Chase Claypool made Terence Mitchell his Mitchell.
He had that one, too, that touchdown catch. He was literally hanging on him.
Yeah.
I mean,
A
That's
second
the thing,
before the ball
because
even
you
arrived,
even
he still
said
made the
during
catch.
that, you said, wow, he sucks. I'm like, they showed the replay. I'm like, actually, He covered him pretty well.
He covered him
Claypool
almost
is a
too
monster.
well. Yeah.
Claypool's a monster.
Yeah,
But
he's going to be very, very
They need to
good.
come up with a new nickname. I don't like
Not a
the
Mapletron. Yeah.
Mapletron.
That's not great. That's not a great name. He's
But-
very, very athletic, though. Very good.
Kevin Johnson used to be good. Sendejo, we were all pumped when we drafted Sendejo. Carl Joseph, was a guy who we all, he's played decent for the Browns.
Decent. He's still a hard hitter. He'll come up and stop the run. That's what I
Yeah,
like
he
to
did
see.
in this game too.
Yeah, he'll come. I mean, and with our linebacker, he's been asked to do that. I mean, he probably lines up more in a linebacker position than he does at safety.
He was second on the team in tackles.
Yeah, I mean,
Phillips had 10. Carl Joseph had 7
yeah.
from the safety position. And I just, again, I don't know that much about our defense, but it just seems like a lot of guys who had played well before this year or had shown a lot of promise have regressed a ton in this system.
Well, and so kind of interesting about Mitchell. He played the highest percentage of snaps of any defensive player on the Browns team this year in the regular season. How much is he on the field if we have Greedy and Denzel healthy?
I was going to say, yeah, it's got to be because no one else was healthy the whole year.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're looking, I'm like kind of looking back. I'm like, man, if we had Greedy and Denzel, is he playing 50% of the snaps in a game on defense? How much is he actually out there? So, I mean, I give him props for, stepping up and filling a role. Obviously, we're going to criticize him because we're watching him every week. But like Blake said, he had been really good in the past, kind of filling in when we need him. He stood out. Not what Robert Jackson and MJ Stewart are doing as they're filling in.
No. And, I used to scream that this guy could probably start on most of the teams in the league. And
You picked him high in your Browns draft.
Yeah.
You took him high in the draft.
Yeah. That's why it makes me. So we're going to evaluate in the offseason, but I don't know if it's something with our defensive system. I don't know what's going on where all these players have regressed. And we gotta hopefully Jacob Phillips is, that kind of that linebacker going forward because it doesn't seem like it's Mac Wilson right now. But Sione Takitaki also, I don't know if he's that guy.
He's just small. He's small for a linebacker. He's one of those cover type linebackers is what his appearance is. I mean,
yeah, but coming out of college, he was known as like a hard hitter, a guy who's going to be in your face.
I feel like when I just see him though on the field, I feel like he looks small. You look at like a Baltimore Ravens defense of their linebackers, they're big dudes,
guys, yeah,
big dudes that don't need somebody to come help them make a tackle on a running back.
Just one, I'll take care of this, guys.
Yeah,
just
that's it.
Help me get up off the ground. That's all I need you for.
Right.
And that's one thing too, though. When you talk about like a Ravens linebacker or a defensive player, you just automatically think big, mean, nasty, hard hitters.
Yep.
Steelers, same way.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that with the culture change in Cleveland, that maybe that's something that's lagging behind a little bit, and we'll get there in the next year or two.
Right.
Where we have that mean, gritty, Browns defense is nasty kind of thing, but
Right.
not this year.
So if this is telling, Mac Wilson started this game at linebacker, 1 tackle.
Man.
1 tackle from your starting linebacker.
Ugh.
That's bad.
I can't remember the one play, but he whiffed hard on. I want to say it was a running back and just blew by him maybe just kind of slow down a little bit, man, before.
So snap count wise, Robert Jackson, we've talked about him. He's only played a handful of snaps all year. Before this game, he played all 67 on defense, along with Ronnie Harrison Jr., Terence Mitchell, and Jacob Phillips. Played every single snap this week.
And I just want to say this out there. When we're talking about Jackson, we're talking about MJ Stewart being, not playing well. They're not supposed to be playing.
Right.
So, it's no disrespect to them, but there's a reason, they're not even second stringers or third stringers and they're practice squad guys they're only on the active roster for a couple games out of the season. There's a reason for that. They're being forced into a position that's really not fair for them against, a team with Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson.
Yes.
A very good receiving core.
Oh, they got Juju also.
Yeah.
They have some okay guys.
So
they're okay.
It's no disrespect. They're being thrown into a position where they should never be thrown into. It sucks for us as Browns fans and for the Browns defense as a whole that they're being forced into that position in the first place.
Yep. Well, I mean, you saw the practice squad result against the Jets. I mean, it's just they're not on the active roster for a reason, like you said.
I feel like, by the way, that should debunk the myth that anybody ever says a college team could beat the worst pro team.
Yeah, that's fair.
These
that
practice
case in
squad
point,
these
yeah.
practice squad players would come to your college team and be All-Americans for you. So, and they couldn't do anything against the worst defense in the league, the Jets. So, I don't want to hear any more of this. Oh, Alabama could be the Browns when the Browns didn't win a game. No,
Right.
The Browns would have won by 100. So, well, I do think the Browns need to try to force a couple turnovers this year. I feel like at the beginning of this season, the Browns, their staple was all about forcing turnovers. We were kind of living and dying by the turnover. We don't force that many turnovers anymore. Partly it might be because we don't have the guys we started the season with in there. But I think if, Big Ben's prone to the turnover, especially if we can pressure him. So let's force a couple turnovers, maybe a pick, force a fumble, something of that nature. It'd be nice to see Miles get back with another strip sack, force a fumble. Let's kind of turn the tide. Try to get up a couple scores and make them fight back because they're not this week they did it with Mason Rudolph, but with Big Ben, they're not really a go deep, throw it kind of team.
No, and that's the thing with Ben. And I think if we can get that pressure on him early, I think, especially this late in the season now that it's, he's played however many games after that elbow injury last year, he's questioning his arm. You can just tell by the way he's playing. He's not sure about what he's able to do physically with that arm anymore.
And he looks like he can barely walk.
Yeah,
he's got a few of those throws still, but they're few and far between. Yeah. Where he used to be able to push it down multiple passes in a row. Like in that Colts game, that's what got him back in that game in the second half. He finally made a couple of those big throws, and everybody was like, "Oh, we're back." But let's see it. Let's see how he looks this week. I think as the Browns defense, you gotta blitz. You gotta blitz, and put pressure. When we blitzed Mason Rudolph, he threw an interception on one of the plays. We put pressure on him, and Big Ben can't move, so you're gonna probably get a hit on him. Now you got to make sure you get him to the ground.
Absolutely,
because he's huge.
Yep.
But you got to make him try to move because he isn't going to be able to escape out of the pocket.
This isn't 5 years ago, and I feel like the concern about teams who blitz heavily is then they're susceptible in the back end of the pass.
But we're
already susceptible in the back end of the pass.
So it don't matter.
We could drop 8 and we're still giving up bombs. So you might as well counter that and
make him throw it quick.
Yeah, if you're
going to give up a pass, give up a 5-yard slant. Don't give up a 30-yard bomb.
Yeah, I'd be bringing the house regularly.
I don't see them trying to run the ball a whole lot. Their run game hasn't worked. They use kind of like the New England Patriots, Tom Brady version of dink and dunk as their pass, as their using the pass as a run game to get a couple yards. They kind of use that, and it's worked against some teams. Some teams kind of figured it out. Cincinnati figured it out, and they kind of took that away. And then the Pittsburgh had trouble on offense.
Negative yards passing.
Yeah, that was the key to that game. And it's going to come down to the turnovers. If we can somehow win the turnover battle in this game, I like our chances. If we give the ball up and ain't getting it back.
No. Hey, Baker, you didn't listen to the first episode. Don't throw it to Minka Fitzpatrick. Dude, you just did a good job this time, so don't throw it to that guy. Don't let TJ Watt, don't let Minka, terrorize us.
He threw to him at one point, trying to get Njoku the touchdown. Yeah. Minka, thank goodness he was a half a step behind. And he just knocked the ball down if I don't know if you guys, I'm watching that play. Austin Hooper was wide open on the other side. He was wide. Nobody within 10 yards of Austin Hooper. And then it was almost the same throw that Hooper did catch the touchdown where we looked on the right side of the field and then threw it back left. Yep. It was like the same play except for Austin Hooper was wide open again. So
I think some of that might have to do too with down around the goal line. The field is just so small down there, and it's just you know what I mean. It's just harder to get through those progressions. I think for quarterbacks because remember which game was it where Njoku was wide open right at the front of the end zone, and he just slung that ball into the back to Jarvis.
Yeah, I also think playing against the Steelers, that internal clock you have as a quarterback is a second faster.
Yeah,
you're like,
and it needs to be.
And in the situation of the game, he's knowing that he needs to score because we just kept kicking field goals.
We got to talk about that.
Biggest play of the game.
I'm not confident at all going into this game. If we need a field goal to win this game from anything more than 10 yards out.
40,
you said
I think
40? I'd be
42, I think, is where I'd be like, okay. I've seen him kick this before. 43, I don't know.
I'm legit going to say anything over 30. I honestly, anytime they trot Parkey out there, I get nervous. I don't care where he's kicking it.
What's crazy is for like 10 weeks, we were like, man, this guy's really solidified the position for us.
Not from deep, though.
No.
He isn't Steph Curry from field goal range.
Well, we never really needed him from deep either because we were scoring 30-plus a game.
Yes.
So, that field goal that we passed up. So, at that point in the game, we were up 8. So, we're up 8, and it's it's 3rd and 3, and Baker
takes a sack.
Yeah, you can't take a sack there.
Yep.
You can't. That was crucial to take the sack there and lose 4 yards. So it would have been a 52-yard field goal to go up 11. And we there was no question he was going for it. Yeah. I mean, even Baker knew. It wasn't like looking over on the sideline and Parkey's over there like getting ready to run out.
Kicking into the net.
Getting ready to run out of the field. No, if anything, it would have been Jamie Gillen. That would have been more to kick the long field goal.
We're talking that show.
It's a 52-yarder.
That's got to be
normal NFL kick for these guys.
So
for other guys,
the Broncos just tried a 70-yarder this week.
Yeah, we got a lot of money to spend, and I don't care who it is. You go and find a Prater, McManus. I don't care. Somebody who can kick the ball 50 yards.
Yes.
And I don't care if he's the highest paid kicker in the league and he still misses a couple 50-yard field goals. We at least attempted them.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah. It's rough, and it makes you can tell Stefanski doesn't have confidence. You can tell Parkey doesn't have any confidence. I was reading all over Twitter before this game that he was awful pregame, to the point where they're like, we just might have to go for.
No, I didn't get to see him. No.
They were
I didn't get to see him pregame.
They were like, we might have to go for 2 because I don't know if this guy's going to make extra points today. I mean, that's not what you want to hear. That's not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And then we were fortunate enough where he made them. But the fact that we don't have confidence to kick a 50-yard field goal in the NFL, and they kick 50-yard field goals
in college. And have we since Phil Dawson as Browns fans? I think that's like Josh said. I'm nervous every time he runs out and we got to kick a field goal. It's because since we let Phil Dawson just walk away and didn't want to pay him money.
Yeah.
Since then, it's been bad. Kicker after kicker. After kicker after kicker, and Cleveland's probably not an easy place to kick.
No, it's not.
They had a story earlier in the year that Phil Dawson put a flag up himself, and that was the only flag that he looked at. He didn't. Every other flag could be blown in every direction, but it was that one was the only one he went off of. So it's probably not an easy place to kick. But man,
well, and we're not the only team struggling with the kicker blues. I mean, there's just
Gostkowski couldn't stay on the team this year.
Yep. I mean it's bad.
It's bad. It has gone down. I feel like even 5 to 10 years ago, anything on a plus side of the 50, you just knew that, they're going to make this.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Gostkowski was benefiting from Deflategate on his field goal kicking.
The kicking balls are already like a little bit more deflated, I think. But so the last thing I want to touch on for this game is I've seen some people talking about it, and I think Zach even texted it. Because of all the COVID issues the Browns are having right now, do you think the game should be postponed?
Do you guys want me to start this?
Yeah. What do you got?
Absolutely not. Listen, just hear me out on this. Just hear me out. And Baltimore went without Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Tennessee, at the beginning of the year, they had no team. That was the only time that they really moved some things around. Obviously, Denver had no quarterbacks. My thing, it's such a Cleveland way for the playoffs to start, for us to have this happen.
And this is our first game.
But it is what it is. Seriously. What are we going to do? Move the game to Monday?
That's my thing.
Tuesday?
Real quick is no, you can't postpone it because there's the second round of the playoffs starting the following Saturday.
And it's not fair to whatever team that wins to have to go play a playoff game.
No, it's not.
Short
And
notice.
it doesn't matter for us either way because the guys that were missing tested positive for COVID.
Yep.
It's not like they were close contacts and can come back in a couple days or whatever.
Right.
They're out.
Yep.
So they're going to be out no matter what. You can postpone it to Thursday. They're not playing. They're not coaching. So play the game. You have to.
Yep, I agree. Would it be awesome if it could somehow be postponed until our players come back? Yes. I'd much rather have Joel Bitonio than Kendall Lamb playing guard.
Yeah.
But there's no possible way to postpone it.
That's the thing. If they were only close contacts, okay, move it to Monday. Maybe that's that extra day that gets them off the list and they can play and yada yada.
You can't move it to a Tuesday, Wednesday type game, turn around and have to play. And, you're putting, like Blake said, either team who wins that game, you're putting at a disadvantage. If Pittsburgh beats us and we move that game back, and then they got to turn around and play somebody else in 3
Saturday or
days.
Sunday, yeah.
You know, that's not fair to them either.
Or we win, and we got to turn around and play again in 3 days.
Yeah. So, so to people out there screaming that it should be postponed, I just don't really see how it's possible. I just don't think it's not a possibility.
It's not.
It sucks. Don't get me wrong. Like that
It
was
is
the
a
worst
bad,
news.
bad
That was the
situation.
worst thing that I literally so I worked midnights and I rolled over and these guys had all been texting and I was completely behind, like a couple hours behind. And I looked and I just went, well, what are we supposed to do?
Right.
Like, well, I mean, it was absolutely so Stefanski is awful because he literally built the culture this year.
Right.
But for Bitonio, man, like the guy that like seeing him get that game football. And like he was like, I've been here a long time, like this means everything. I'm really excited. We're not done yet. And I'm like, and then you don't even get to play probably the most important game of your career.
It is the most important. No doubt.
No doubt.
It's the most important game of all these guys' careers, and except for
Malcolm
maybe,
Smith. Right?
Yeah, the guy who's been in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So
and Joel Bitonio, a guy along J.C. Treader this year, Ironman for the Browns, played every single snap.
Yep.
Of every game this
and then
year.
this is what caused it.
Well,
so,
and that's like Jarvis.
Yeah.
Jarvis never missed a game.
Yep.
In his career.
And he's been 8 years or so in the league.
Yeah.
That's amazing for any NFL player. Receiver.
especially because we know some of the injuries he's been playing through,
Right.
Like rib injuries and stuff like that.
And the only game he's ever missed was because of COVID.
Yep.
He kept
Not e- and a
tweeting out.
And he wasn't even
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. Close contact. It was close contact.
I'm sure that just ate him alive.
Yeah,
Yep.
It ate me alive.
Yep. So that's a wrap up of the preview / review.
Right, because we're going to the playoffs.
Right. Cue the music.
This is my go-to.
Right. Yeah, I saw that a lot at your wedding.
You might have seen that from me at the wedding too. I don't remember it.
So we'll get into who we think is going to win that game, but obviously we're super excited that we beat the Steelers, and honestly I don't think we could have had a better draw. Who would you guys have rather played? Maybe the Colts?
Maybe the Colts.
Titans.
Or maybe the Titans. Do you really want to take your chances, though,
With Derrick Henry?
With Derrick Henry?
Yeah. He's playing
Especially-
well.
Yeah.
He's only getting 250 yards a game.
So, I mean, I feel like of all the playoff teams that are in, best possible case scenario for
I
the
would say
Browns.
right now, at this moment in time, the Steelers are probably the most beatable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm not saying they're bad.
Baltimore-
I'm just
you-
saying.
No, but
I
beatable.
I
don't want to play.
Baltimore.
I don't want to play Buffalo or Baltimore's offense right now.
Well, and how Cleveland's storybook is it that we make the playoffs and guess who's waiting?
Dude, that's the thing. We had to beat the Steelers to get here.
Yep.
And now we got to beat the Steelers to move on.
It's like storybook,
Yeah.
made for TV, Hollywood type stuff.
That's
Like
why we're prime time on Sunday night.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's
know.
go win it. No, backs against the wall. We got nothing to lose. That's why I'm pulling out all the stops.
Oh,
if I'm
Jarvis
Stefanski.
is throwing at least a touchdown pass in this game.
So
He's
let's-
4 for 4, man.
I posted it on our Facebook this week. There's only one thing left to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Win the whole freaking thing. Let's
Right.
do it.
I got a shirt that says that.
Yeah. So we'll move into our game picks. We'll review our records and then make our picks for Wild Card Weekend. So Zach, take it away.
Yeah, we each had pretty good weeks. We had two of us go 11-5. That was Josh and Blake. Last week, Justin and myself were 10-6. So final regular season records. I have a 3-game lead going into the playoffs on Josh. 166 wins to 163. Then we have Blake is in third place. He is 4 games up on Justin. He gained a game on him, 156 to 152.
So I'm 10 games out
I
first.
pulled a couple stupid ones last week. I said the Jags were going to give us a nice
Right.
beat over the Colts. And I
They
didn't.
made
Oh,
it
it was a
interesting.
close game.
It was a close
It was
game.
a close
Yeah.
game.
It was a close game, and that would have knocked the Colts out
Yeah.
and got the Dolphins in.
Yep.
And we're gonna go through here and pick, who we got here in these matchups. There's a lot of good matchups in these playoffs. There's not other than, and call me crazy, but Tampa Bay has to go to Washington, and that's a really good defense that they got to go up
I
against.
100% agree.
Well, you got Chase Young, who's a rookie.
Yep.
bouncing off the field, going to the playoffs.
I want
Bring
Tom.
me Tom.
I want Tom.
I want to, and they asked him, like, are you sorry for saying no? What's he supposed to say? Like, I don't want to go against Mr. Brady.
Tom Brady.
I don't think that he knew that he was being recorded. I think he was trying to hype his team up, and like.
I'll tell you what. If I had to,
like it.
If I had to start a franchise with a defensive player right now, anybody in the league, I would take Chase Young.
Yes,
he looks like he's going to be a monster.
So Chase Young is awesome this year, standout rookie, and I could probably make the argument that he's the second best defensive end on their team.
Sweat.
That Montez Sweat is so underrated.
Yep.
And what gives Brady fits? When you get pressure on him.
I don't know. Mike Evans, is he done?
So he hyperextended his knee.
But it's not as bad as they thought.
Right?
Okay.
I don't know
he might play, but I mean, even without him, you got Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Gronkowski. Yeah. I mean, they're loaded.
They got some weapons.
That's the thing with Tampa Bay, though. They're up and they're down. They're up, and you just don't know.
Not much of a run game.
You just don't know
because they don't want to run the ball.
And who are you taking in the coaching matchup?
Ron Rivera.
I really like Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. Okay, so we'll get to that one. That's on that's the Saturday night game. So first matchup on Saturday, 1:00 game. Indianapolis Colts have to travel to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Probably I would say the hottest team in football is Buffalo Bills. But they got to go up against Indy's defense.
Yeah.
Bills, though.
Oh, Josh Allen doesn't care, dude. Bills, for sure.
I think this game is close going to the fourth quarter, and then Phillip Rivers does what Phillip Rivers does and throws a turnover that just comes back and gives them that 2-score lead to ice things away. So I'll go Bills.
I also go Bills. I made a lot of mistakes in my life when I said Josh Allen was not an accurate passer.
Man.
He learned how to pass.
I'll tell you what, you take Brian Dable and you take him, put him with a Sam Darnold or a Trevor Lawrence. That's going to be probably. I mean, we're thinking it's going to or Justin Fields, wherever he might end up, or a Herbert. Look out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you said that Josh Allen was not accurate back then, you weren't wrong.
No.
I mean, he was.
I don't know.
He corrected.
I don't know if he was doing that sand drill on the beach for the whole offseason.
So let's think about this. So he is leaps and bounds better.
Oh yes.
But he finally has somebody to throw the ball to.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs is a dog.
Yeah. Remember we talked about at the beginning of the year, we didn't know how that was going to work because
I didn't think it would work.
We were like Josh Allen. I was afraid for my fantasy team. I was like, man, Stephon Diggs was really good with Kirk.
Now, he's better with Josh Allen. He's a little bit better.
Way better.
And Cole Beasley, man, we ragged on that guy.
I'm still going to.
So more yards than Jarvis. Anybody on the Browns?
Yep.
3 games for the Browns that were played in a hurricane.
That's the thing. Those get thrown away as far as offensive stats go.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go into game 2. 4:40 start time. We got the Los Angeles Rams taking on Seattle. At Seattle.
I'll start this one. Game. I don't think this is a tough game.
No.
I'm taking L.A.
They just lost to him.
I'm not even worried about it.
I do not think Jared Goff is playing, though.
I'm not worried about it. I'm taking L.A. I'm taking L.A. L.A.'s defense against Russell Wilson.
I'm taking Seattle because I think Russell Wilson doesn't get beat by whoever the backup for the Rams is.
John Wolford.
John Wolford. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to look up to pull up how he played. I know they played Arizona, and it was a game that they had to win.
I think he did most of his damage as a runner.
6 carries, 56 yards, 22 of 38 in the air, 231 interception.
Nice.
I think this is a close game because of LA's defense.
Yes.
But I think Pete Carroll won't let a backup quarterback beat him in the playoffs with Russell Wilson at the helm. I think it's a low-scoring game, like a 21-17 type of a game. But I'm going Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going to go Seattle as well. But I'm with you, though, Justin, as far as, I could see Seattle getting beat here by a backup quarterback just because the second half of the season.
They don't look
Seattle's
good.
defense isn't great.
No. Then their offense isn't great.
Right.
I'm telling you, they do not
Adams, we're not sure. Adams isn't sure if he's playing. He says he's going to play.
I've never seen anybody fall out of the MVP conversation
so great,
so fast,
so quickly. I mean, Russell Wilson.
And he wasn't. I mean, he was playing at a great level, but Aaron Rodgers is on something different this year.
It's not even. I don't even think it's even close.
So yeah, that'll be exciting. So we'll go into the nightcap. We kind of talked about it a little bit. Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, getting the Bucs back into the playoffs, taking on a young, kind of up-and-coming Washington football team with Ron Rivera in his first year.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take the football team.
Football team at home.
When I first saw that matchup, I was like, that's not a good matchup for the Buccaneers.
I will take the Buccaneers because I watched that game, Washington and Philly. Alex Smith is not going to get the job done. Comeback player of the year, good for him. I'm very happy for him. Like it's a great story. He's not going to beat the Bucs.
And they said they're going to rotate quarterbacks too because they don't think that
with who?
Whoever their third or fourth, or after Kyle Allen and Dwayne Haskins, whoever that next guy is. Washington fans, if you're watching, please help me. I don't know, but no, I'm going to take Tampa Bay. I like Washington. I think a couple of years from now they're going to be very, very dangerous.
Their defense is pretty much set.
Yep.
They get a quarterback because the offense is.
That's the thing that I think.
Weapons.
One more receiver, I think, with a quarterback.
Yes, they're missing that quarterback that can move. Alex Smith in the pocket does a great job. Do they need a
quarterback that can move, or does Alex Smith just need another offseason to get more healthy?
Could be. Yeah. It could be. That's like the story that you're going to have to see. Does Smith get better and he gets a little bit more mobile? If he's not, he's kind of limited on what he can give you. Do you try to go get somebody else? Because I don't think that their quarterback or the future is on their roster. No, Can we agree with that? I think
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, so that'll take us into Sunday's matchup, and man, I am excited for this 1:00 game. Baltimore at Tennessee, two teams who want to run the football, and Tennessee's had Baltimore's number the last two times they've played them.
So Baltimore is a team where I don't want to play them right now.
No,
they seem to be
300 and something yards rushing this week.
They're hitting their stride.
They play Cincinnati though.
They figured it out. They figured it out, though, and I give the Baltimore coaching staff some credit. I think early on in the year where we kind of saw some struggles when everybody was like, man, Lamar Jackson can't pass the ball. And I think that they were trying to prove, like, hey, we got to be able to pass. We got to get Lamar to pass. And then now they're like, hey, we can win games if Lamar runs the ball. So why are we trying to pass the ball? Because nobody can stop us. And that's what we've seen week after week here at the end of the year. But Tennessee's got their number, but I'm going to go with Baltimore in this game, and I think that this gets nobody can stop nobody type of a game, like a 40-37 type of a finish where it's just like back and forth, haymakers being thrown.
You mean like a Tennessee-Houston kind of game from over the weekend?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm going to go with Baltimore because I feel like they're playing more consistent football right now. Titans kind of seem to be...
They're a roller coaster. Now they can do both. They can run, they can throw. But yeah, Baltimore's going to control the clock. They're going to just eat up long drives running the football. So I'm going to go Baltimore in a close one.
I agree.
I also am going to take Baltimore in a close game. Even though Tennessee had their number last year,
Lamar's due to win a playoff game. The guy's 0-2.
Yeah.
That's a huge monkey he's trying to get off his back.
Not gonna lie,
that's a dangerous team on the other
side. If he doesn't get it though,
he's not going to. Give me Tennessee. He's not going to win this. Derrick Henry's got this. Don't worry.
Derrick Henry is
not to mention A.J. Brown is
also a man.
Tank.
He's probably the number one in Tennessee.
Yes.
Not Corey Davis.
Not Corey Davis, but Corey Davis is close.
He's close.
I'll tell you what. If you've got
he's just number 2 on that team.
If you've got a number 2 receiver, that's Corey Davis right now.
You're all right.
You're all right.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's good.
Right. All right. So takes us to the 4:40 game. Chicago Bears taking on the New Orleans Saints.
Saints.
Bears.
Okay.
Ooh.
Bears. I'm taking the Bears.
Okay.
Taking the Bears.
They just look terrible against the Packers.
Not terrible.
I watched that.
They were in the game till the third quarter.
And the score was close.
Until the end of the third quarter, going to the fourth.
They looked awful.
I am taking the Bears. I think Mitch Trubisky, and hopefully it's not Drew Brees' last game, but I think he's going to lose this game. They played earlier in the season. Nick Foles was playing quarterback, and the Saints only beat him 26-23. So
yeah.
It's going to be a close game. I'll take the Bears. I'll take the upset in that one. Which I did see some news real quick that Drew Brees actually signed on with one of the networks for announcing.
Really?
So,
already done.
Doesn't say that it's, he could probably walk in anywhere he wanted to be after he retires.
Absolutely.
I'm going to announce for football games on your channel.
Yeah.
So But yeah, he did already sign. So I think if they make a long run, it could be his last year. If they get eliminated early,
A little bit of he needs a little.
do you come back?
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. All right. Takes us to prime time. Tickets low as $520 a piece. Cleveland Browns at Pittsburgh.
In the playoffs. In the playoffs.
First time in 18 years. Last time we were here, we played Pittsburgh in a wild card game. Should have won it up 17, I think, with
Couldn't get out of bounds.
19 minutes to go.
I remember it. Really well.
Tommy Maddox, comeback player of the year, comes back to rob Kelly Holcomb of Cleveland Browns.
My favorite Browns quarterback up until probably Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Do you guys want me to start this?
Go ahead, Justin. You're giddy over there. So go ahead.
I think we
giddy.
should end with Justin's because this dude is Mr. Optimism, positivity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're the only thing that keeps me going during the games on Sundays because I'll be losing my mind. You're like,
sometimes
don't
I'm
worry,
disappointed
guys,
with
we
you,
got
Josh.
this.
Sometimes I just be like, man, I got
told somebody else the other day, I said, I'm usually a very optimistic and like positive person, but for some reason, when it comes to the Buckeyes and the Browns, I am so negative and critical and just.
Which I don't get with the Buckeyes because they're usually giving you reasons to not be that. I understand it with the Browns.
The thing with the Buckeyes, it's like if they miss a tackle, I'm like, oh, they suck. And then they go score.
Then they hang, 20-something on Clemson.
I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I'm excited for if the game is played Monday night.
As long as Justin Fields plays.
Right.
I'm still, either way.
I'll tell you what, another week could help us.
Two nights of football, though, of a Sunday into a Monday.
I'm taking a little bit of time off of work so I can watch both of those games, those primetime games.
Very nice.
So I'll make my pick.
Okay, what do you got? Give us a score, too, so we know how close you think it's going to be.
Whenever I first heard about all the COVID stuff, I was like, we're getting rolled. And then I was like, man, if Kendall Lamb can just block Cam Hayward, we still got a shot in this. So I'm going to take the Browns 21-17.
Man.
And Denzel plays.
Yeah. If Denzel Ward doesn't play, I don't
Change my pick.
We don't have a shot. Denzel Ward has to play for my 21-17 to be valid.
Okay. What do you got, Josh?
Just so you know, there's no way I'm picking against the Browns in our first playoff game.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, the last time I got to pick a Browns playoff game was never. So
Right.
I'm going to take the Browns because, hey, we got Baker Mayfield. And I feel good saying that. And that's what I wanted all season was to get to the point where I say, as long as we got Baker, we got a shot, and we do. So, man, as far as a score, if we win, it's going to be something like 24-23. It will come down to the Cody Parkey, and I will be not able to watch.
Angels in the outfield kind of stuff we're going to need.
Right.
Somebody push that ball up over that field goal.
Yeah, and hey, it'd be storybook, right, if he doinked it in to win the game.
Yeah, we went on a last second double doink and it goes in.
Yeah, that'd be
like
something.
the Dawson where it bounced out and bounced through.
If that happens, I am clipping that soundbite for next week's show to put with that video, the replay of him doinking it in.
He double doinks it in, sends us to the second round, then he just looks at the camera and chops.
Right. A little Pete Weber chop.
Yeah.
I think anytime I have like a really tough day, I'm just gonna like listen to that where the Cavs win the championship and they're announcing it.
The Fred McLeod.
Yes. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awful. Oh
man. All right, so I'll go next. We'll leave Justin last. I'm gonna go Browns as well. I can't pick Pittsburgh. My wife was a little easier because she actually picked the Browns to win this week over the Steelers, but it'll be a little different in the household this week because last week
didn't matter. You might have to come to my house to watch it because I couldn't be around a Steelers fan and watch this game.
So I am going to go Cleveland. I do think it's kind of same lines, low scoring. I'll go 27-23 Browns win. Move on to take on Kansas City next week. Would be my guess. Unless Indianapolis were to pull off the upset, then it would be them. So Indy,
and then
go ahead.
Hosting a playoff game.
I'm a fan this week, Indy. I'm a fan this week. If there's one week you can win for me, it's this week.
Philip Rivers, do your thing.
I'm pretty sure it was Stephen A. Smith, right? Earlier this season, a couple of weeks ago, said the only team that's going to hang with the Chiefs offensively in the playoffs could be the Browns.
Yeah, but he also just came out and said we were going to Pittsburgh to get rolled this week.
Well, and that was also before Josh Allen decided to just go nuclear.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Justin.
So
Wait.
Go ahead. Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
Hype it up.
Yeah. So all week, I've taken it really, really personal. I've went through Facebook. I've talked to people. Until I sat down in this room, there was only one other person that I talked to that wasn't like Browns are getting steamrolled out. And I literally am taking that super personal. So if I'm taking that personal as a Cleveland fan, I know that Kevin Stefanski, everybody on that Cleveland Browns roster is taking that personal. I think the Browns go in there and we play tough. We play hard-nosed. Nick Chubb absolutely goes off.
Man, I hope so.
Gashes them hard. I'm taking Browns 31-28. We're moving on. If Indianapolis upsets the Bills and they host a playoff game next week in Cleveland, Ohio.
It won't be in Cleveland.
Would it be in Ohio?
It would be if.
Oh, please tell me it's in Ohio. Is there any chance? No, then don't worry about it. We'll go and pick the Chiefs on and hey, let's do that then. I'm fine with that. We can do that.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. I think Browns 31-28. Great game. And I'm confident.
Yeah.
I'm very confident.
Hey,
I do want to
think the
say
Browns-
Justin has a history of this. Cavs were down 3-1, and he was like, "Oh, we're going to come back and win it all. Don't worry."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I had no confidence. Down 3-1 against the Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that we go into this game with everybody kind of counting us out. Like there's
Absolutely.
no chance we should win.
Right.
We're supposed to lose. So if we lose, it's like, well, whatever. We'll see.
We're playing with house money.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nothing to lose other than the game.
Right. And Justin will still be sad if we lose, even though
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I'll be crushed, but
right.
The thing is,
we're supposed to be there.
It's the playoff experience too that these guys are going to get. I mean, this is our core.
I don't know what it's like.
You know what I mean? Well, yeah, as fans, but I'm saying like our player, like Baker Mayfield, to get just a playoff game under his belt, to know what that's like. Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, guys, just soak it in, understand what this is all about, and then come back next year ready to do even more.
Oh, we've been here before.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, our buddy LeBron wanted to tweet out because now he's a Browns fan. That
Hey,
don't be satisfied.
Don't talk about my guy like that.
Don't be satisfied. Keep going. Want more?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's all I've heard. They want more.
If somebody knows how to come back from near certain defeat in Cleveland, it's LeBron. Because he did.
Yep.
All right, so let's wrap this thing up. We're all on the Browns train, so let's go do it. Thanks for checking out another episode of The Dawgs. This was our first playoff episode. Hopefully it's not 18 years before we bring you another playoff episode.
Just a week.
Yeah, hopefully it's just 7 days. Remember to check us out on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook right now, please tap that share button. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram. Please subscribe on YouTube. Remember, check out Thrive Fantasy. Use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS. Get your 100% match on your deposit of $20 or more, up to $50. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, Google, AGA app on your Roku's, pretty much anywhere you can find us. One thing I want to touch on before we get out of here is, obviously, we're not happy with just making the playoffs. We want to keep going. We want to win a Super Bowl one day. But it's been 18 years since we've been here.
Yep.
So enjoy this. Don't take this for granted because
it could be 18 more.
When we made it in 2002, we didn't think it was going to be 18 years before we made it here again. So enjoy this moment as a Browns fan. Don't let these Steelers fans talk you down.
Play the party music.
Yeah. So let's enjoy this. Let's go get a win. We'll hopefully see you guys next week talking about another Browns win over the Steelers. Round 2 of the playoffs. Here we come. Have a good week, everybody.